Good morning. Welcome to my page once again. Chrissy Vegas, your host. Get off my line. We got shit to talk about today. It's been 10 days. 10 since the Buffalo shooting. And I talked about this in episode 1. Yesterday, there was another mass shooting. This time, kids. Kids. What are we doing, y'all? It broke my heart when I heard the news yesterday. Kids. 4th grade. What are we doing? Something needs to change. We need to take a stand. Because it's some bullshit now. There's always so much going on in the world. I think people forget. Everybody's wrapped in their own life. And I totally get that. We all got our own lives to live, everything in it. But there's one thing that America doesn't focus on enough. And I've said this again in episode 1, and I'll say it in all the episodes. It's definitely mental health. And I'm not saying that this gives anybody an excuse, but I think America needs to focus a lot more on mental health. Number one, this young man who was 18 who went into this school and shot up a school and killed, I believe it's 18 students, little kids, and I believe 2 adults. Why? We ain't gonna know. He died. They shot his ass. But these were children that didn't even get to live any of their lives yet. And it doesn't matter if it's children, older people. It's gotta stop. The hate has gotta stop. The shootings have gotta stop. And a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, gun control." That's a big topic. That's a topic that we're going to have to elaborate on more in the upcoming episodes. But put yourself in these parent situations. If you're not a parent, if you are a parent, you couldn't be there to protect your children, and how that must feel as a parent. Heartbreaking, crushing, failure, I'm sure. And it's not their fault. We send our children off to school. We went to school when we was young. We send our children off to school hoping that they're as safe as they can be, as safe as the school can protect them, depending on the teachers and the principals and the security guards and everything else in between to keep them safe behind those barriers and those walls. And it is no longer safe to do that. But let's go back. It is no longer safe to go to the movies after that guy shot up that movie theater. It's no safer to run a marathon because of what happened over in Boston. It's no safer to go to a club. What happened in LA a couple months ago and what happened at Pulse nightclub. It's no longer to go safe to go to a concert. What happened in Las Vegas a couple years ago. I could sit here all day and tell you about the crimes that happened all day in one city. And it would take all day. And that's one city, one state. I could tell you about New York, Philly, Chicago, LA, Texas, Miami, Vegas, anywhere. We need to put a stop to this. And our government is not doing enough to put a stop to this. They need to implement a lot of things with gun control. In the United States, we know you have the right to bear arms and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But what class of arms should we be bearing? This is a problem. It's so easy to go out right now and get a gun for a lot of states. You need a background check. You don't need a mental health check or someone. You can walk in and get a gun somewhere. People know where to get guns in the streets, although that's not legal. Definitely rethink that because that's part of the problem. But this man, he went in the store and bought the assault rifles, which I've heard, and a handgun, and just bought 'em at 18 years old. Boom. A lot of people will say, take all the guns away, have the Senate or our government do a criminal background check, but a criminal who could be reformed. I'm not saying, you know what I'm saying? Like these are all people that's at the end of the day, and some people, yeah, they need a second chance. Who are in jail, and it's called reformer jail. And if you can't get out of jail, you've made a mistake in your life. I get that shit. Everybody makes mistakes. You got to think about the consequences which it's gonna cause you. But a criminal or somebody who was a criminal, former criminal, who's turning his wife around, who needs just a gun maybe to protect himself, protect his family, wants to go hunting, whatever, maybe they're not going to be able to get it. But you allow certain people, anybody else, to go get a gun without any kind of, like, they could pass the background check, that's fine. But did they pass a mental health check? These are the things that need to start happening along with that. So I think that every state should have a mental health check in order to get a gun. I think that the president and the Senate and the House and everybody in between, everybody on Capitol Hill, I think our government needs to start signing executive orders right now, today, since they could sign it for anything else, like billions and trillions of dollars going to everywhere else and everything else. I think they need to start focusing a little bit more here on America and less on other countries. And I'm not saying again that we shouldn't help other countries, but that you need to start focusing on your country that you are running in, that you are president in, not to be a superhero of the world. If we can help the rest of the world after that, that's fine. That's beautiful. That's great. Help your own people first, bro. Help your own people first. This goes to all the government. Help your own people. You already kill us with the taxes and everything else like that in our pockets, but you can't help you. You need to start helping your own country, because this is unacceptable anymore. There should be no way parents should be scared now to send their children to school. You should be afraid to go to a movie theater, or you should be afraid to do anything. This has got to stop. You should sign an executive order. If it were me, y'all, tell me how you feel about this, because I know there's people who want to comment down below. I hear this on I hear radio shows in the morning. I love talk shows in the morning. Shout out, to Z100 and stuff like that, and people who have the talk shows and everything like that. Everything else, any kind of channel. But if it were me and I were the president, or I was some kind of type of government, there would have been an executive order signed this morning. And I'll tell you what it would have said. And you don't have to agree with me, but I feel like this might help. I think that you should not be able to purchase weapons beyond class 1. So class 1, just a double barrel rifle, just a regular rifle if you want to go hunting, or some handgun. Anything past that, assault rifles, anything like the AK, they should be not even sold. Unless you're a military person, you would have to keep that at your base, not bring it at home. That should be actually a law. Also, it should be a law too. Yeah, you might need a soft background check, and you should absolutely have a mental evaluation test before you are allowed to purchase this gun. And it should be actually something that you do every year, or 2 years, or maybe even 5 years, because your mental health could change in between that. And I think that should happen. And I think that there should be a 30-day policy. Now, this is going to be now when this executive order would have been signed, I would say anybody who has any kind of weapon above class 1 is to turn in their upper class weapons and get a full refund. What the weapon is worth now, or what you paid for the weapon, classified by the government, they should give the money back. And if not, and you refuse to, or these weapons are purchased illegally, or if somebody's still selling these kind of weapons in any kind of shop, it would result in a fine for the shop who sells these weapons above class 1. And I'm talking a massive fine. I'm talking about something like, for every weapon you have above class 1, I'm talking about $5,000 for each weapon, each. And then for the people who do still have those weapons, don't want to turn them in, I'm talking about if you don't return them in 30 days, I'm talking jail time. I'm talking 50 years to life. Maybe when people hear that kind of shit, it'll make people think twice. And you don't need all that weaponry. I understand if you want to protect yourself. I get that. Again, right to bear arms. We need to protect ourselves. Sometimes shit happens, you know what I'm saying? There are bad people in this world. And you need to protect yourself. You need to protect your family. You want to go hunting? Go for it. That's a sport. Whatever you want to call it. A hobby. But we don't need anything higher than that. And a mental evaluation does need to be done. A soft background check does need to be done. That order or that law about weapons class 1 needs to be done. I implore our government to listen to this because this is happening way too often now. And not even too often with the amount of span of time that these things, have happened. It's too much. It's too much. Government needs to get off my line with that because I ain't with it. I ain't with it. I don't like that shit. I don't like hearing about that shit. Nobody wants to hear about that shit. No parent wants to send their freaking child to school and then come home to hear that they ain't home because some shit like that popped off. No parent wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. There are evil people in this world. And sometimes evil people, they do fucked up shit. They do fucked up shit. And like I said, sometimes they need help. You know what I'm saying? There were signs. And this is another thing. We need to start listening to the people who are having mental issues. You need to start seeing and focusing on the signs of these people who are having a mental health issue. If there are signs, this kid had all these signs. Of course, on Facebook, on this and that, the dude shot his grandma before he went to go up in them. Like, I can't, yo. Listen to the signs. If somebody is begging you for help, please help them. Call a hotline, take them to a doctor, take them to a therapist, take them to the hospital, take them somewhere, listen to them. If they're not saying it directly, please watch for the signs. People don't just do strange things because they're already strange. No, they're suffering from some shit and they need help. Listen, look, watch, learn. Because these people need help. These people need help. So that's my shit on this because we're going to have another episode, maybe get more in depth. I want to know what y'all think. Please comment down below. Click, subscribe. Okay, because I want my voice to be heard. And I want your voice to be heard. I want us to be heard as a people. I swear to God, I'm not into that whole beauty thing, where they do beauty pageants. But yeah, world peace is what we need. And again, like I said, and I think I'm going to say it now, episode before, what we need in this world is we need love and peace, and everybody needs to come together as one despite any type of color, race, sex, anything like that. Love, peace, and we need to start helping each other out because all each other is what we have. All we have is each other. Okay, we have our families, but then when you don't got family and everything, you have friends. When you don't, all we have are each other as human beings on this earth. We need to start watching. We need to start listening, and we need to start speaking out, and we need to start taking a stand and telling our government, telling the president, telling somebody, your governor, anybody, how you feel about these situations. Because we don't want it to happen again. Because it is not fair. It's never fair that these kids are not going to be able to now grow up and live the life they were intended to live because some nut who probably needed help. I shouldn't call him that. But like at this point, bro, you killed how many children? You killed your own family member. Start listening. Start watching for these people. Start listening. And the government, start listening to the people. Start listening to America. Start helping America again. Because if we don't, Shit like this gonna pop off all the time. In America, people are tired of hearing about this. People are saddened to hear this and wake up to hear this. You don't want to wake up to this no more. You don't want to wake up to no wars. You don't want to wake up to people shooting nobody. You don't want to wake up to no bad news. And that's in a perfect world. Like my man says, he said, in a perfect world. But we don't live in a perfect world. And we may never live into a perfect world. But we can do what we can to help each other out, to at least try to live in a half decent world where people get along with each other and ain't fighting over some stupid shit and ain't shooting people over some shit that because they need some kind of help or some shit, or because they're angry with their life, so you gonna take everybody else's life away. That ain't fucking right. And I'm mad, as everybody should be mad. I'm mad. I'm sad and I'm upset because this is too much. That's the end of this. But like I said, watch, listen, speak your mind. I'll come back another time with another episode. I want to tell all y'all this. I love y'all. I love y'all as humans, as beings, as everybody. I love y'all. But we got to start paying attention.